My name is Calvin McNeil. I just was released July the 8th of 2020 after serving 39 years being incarcerated as a 16-year-old youth. And what I would like to let everyone know that our system is truly messed up because of the simple fact me and others were sentenced to a life sentence in prison. It was with the possibility of parole. Governor come in, Glenn Denning, and he said that life means life. And when he made that statement on his steps, life means life, he took away all hope and possibility from everyone from inside those walls.
Well, from a personal perspective, while I was incarcerated, I noticed that the overwhelming majority of people that were serving parole eligible life sentence or life sentence period were people of color, African Americans. That was the first indicator. And I also began to notice that before I was released from prison, that a large percentage of them were becoming younger and younger. It's definitely a racial component to it. Make no mistake about it.
The lawsuit, Maryland Restorative Justice Initiative versus Hogan, at the time we filed suit, no juvenile lifer, no person serving life for an offense committed as a child had been paroled in more than 20 years. The changes we were trying to achieve through the case were really about taking a system that had stopped paroling people, only rarely granting people release through clemency, and really taking that on and bringing it back. For people serving life sentences, regardless of the system, parole is extremely difficult to obtain. And that's because decision makers are generally very reluctant to release people who are serving life sentences.
And then when you hear the governor fight back and respond and say that, oh, the reason why I'm denying you parole or clemency is because you have not accepted responsibilities for your crime. If I never accepted responsibilities for my crime, do you think the full parole commission would have recommended me for parole or clemency? These people are the ones that see me every year that I go up. Not the governor, not his lawyers. These people that he has assigned to do their jobs wonderful. He has to let them do their jobs and stop interfering. I lost my wife in 2010, and she was doing everything she could do to help speed the process up. Then I lost my mother. I wanted to be out there for them, but I couldn't because of the simple fact everybody wants to play games with our lives. We need to try to find solutions. And keeping us locked up is not a part of that solution. That is not going to help anything.
The settlement in this case addresses the ways in which Maryland's system had ceased operating as a system of parole and the ways in which it really punished the people who were children at the time of their offense. And so the settlement involves the prison system, the parole commission, and the governor. Overall, the most important changes have to do with establishing updated processes and transparency that's intended to enable lifers and their supporters to better advocate for them in obtaining their release, and to reduce the arbitrariness in decision-making. So, for example, when we filed the case, the Parole Commission wasn't recommending people for parole. A handful of exceptional cases would get diverted to commutation, which was done in complete secrecy. As a result of the settlement, as a result of the lawsuit, if you go up for parole, you must be considered for parole. That sounds like a simple common sense thing, but that was a very important part of the settlement, because that a lot of the protections that exist in parole were just disappearing because of the Parole Commission's practice.
Well, my assessment anyway is that the juvenile class action lawsuit has caused officials looking at a little more critically how that individual was, first, what their circumstances was when the crime was committed. Second, how they progressed since they've been in the system, and how they've matured and developed over time when they're making their decision. And I think that they're giving them a little more careful evaluation before they just arbitrarily make a decision.
In order for us to really build on the success of this case, the most important thing we can do now is pass legislation to restore the final decision on parole to the Parole Commission. We urge you to please take action by reaching out in support of legislation to take the governor out of parole.